Something that I've seen ever since we were kids when we come to this spot is previous landowners. There's it says 1936, May 5th, Tuesday, fair weather, and then a bunch of initials, stuff like that. Over here, barely see it. It looks like another date, but it's so worn. All I see is a 19. I put my initials up there, no telling when that was. I was a kid. So, and then my brother, I don't know if you can see it, but E-R-I-C, Eric. It is down there. But yet, previous owners, there's initial carvings all over the place. Several places I've never even, I've just coming down here over the last couple of years have discovered recently. So nice little tidbit of history there. There's actually some on another rock where I'm getting ready to go do some coffee on. Looking forward to. Something that's very interesting to me
maybe you guys too. I don't know if some of y'all have heard any of this yet, but we have a comet that is coming, and that's on its way now. And Comet Atlas, look it up. You should be able to view it naked eye. I've been reading things that it's going to be 5 times bigger and brighter than Jupiter. So if you're familiar with looking at the planets and things like that in the night sky when you see them, you know, so if you know, because when I was younger, in my 20s, I was into amateur astronomy. Always been interested in space anyway, from science fiction to the real thing. And so that it just interests me immensely. But so if you're familiar with like what Jupiter looks like in the night sky when it's up there hanging brightly, you know, and it's, you know, and it's pretty good size. I mean, you can see it with your naked eye, of course, if you're not familiar with this stuff. You can even, in a good pair of binoculars, see 4 of its moons generally through a fairly good sized pair of binoculars and all that. So, and you don't, and it doesn't have to be too big, you know, it doesn't have to be too huge binoculars. I mean, but you can see 4 little spots. I used to have a huge telescope back before I played in music and stuff like that. Again, you know, for the semi-professionally time, I had a pretty good sized telescope, and ended up, after a divorce from my daughter's mother, I ended up selling that telescope to fund some music equipment to get in there, and I missed that thing. It was a nice, cool, it was this big around, this long, Dobsonian. Anyway, but you can see all kinds of stuff with that thing. But so this comet that's coming, 5 times brighter than Jupiter, maybe 5 times bigger. So if you remember, if some of y'all remember, back in the 90s, like a 94, 95, 96, around that area, we had 2 comets in a row. And comets aren't like meteors. They don't go by this, you know, they are there. They're so far away and so bright. They just kind of hang there. You see them, and they're there night after night after night until they move on, you know. So, if you remember in the early 90s, like I said, 94, 95, 96, somewhere around in that area, we had 2 comets. We had I don't know how to say it, Comet Hattuki, some Japanese, long Japanese name. You can look it up. And then we had Hale-Bopp. So, and they, you know, you could visually see them in the sky. I remember the first one being about that long in the sky. I mean, just hanging there. It was in the northwest. You know, from my vantage point, it was northwest, and you could see it. You know, you could see it, and it was pretty cool. And then Hale-Bopp was pretty much in the same area, not quite as high, as a little lower, but that thing was even brighter, you know, and it looked like it had a wedge behind the spot, you know, so I mean, you could see it, and it hung in the sky for weeks. And this one is supposed to be the same way. So they say mid-late April all the way into mid-May, you should be able to, you know, by the time May rolls around, you should be able to see it naked eye, according to the way things go, hopefully. So you'll be able to like look at it and see this comet hanging in the sky. If you've never seen one, watch it, pay attention. It's very cool stuff, you know. And this one hadn't been around. They say it comes around, what, every 4,000 years, 6,000 years, something like that. So check it out while you can. Interesting that it's coming, you know, during these interesting times, you know, all these signs and things are happening. It's crazy. So pay attention to all that. Pay attention to the signs. There's a lot of things going on right now that's just crazy. This whole world is nuts. But anyway, I find that stuff interesting. You know, it's very cool. So if you get a chance to take a look at it, take a look at it when it comes about. It's supposed to be, it's up by the Big Dipper. In between the Big Dipper and Polaris. Polaris, that's the North Star, right? So, I believe it is. And so it's in between those two areas. So that's a little, like, kind of north, straight north, basically, you know. So, hope everybody's hanging in there all right. It's craziness. Craziness with this thing going on. So, stay safe, everybody. And just keep on the lookout, you know. Things could still get worse. Keep an eye on your family and property and everything. You know, I made a video the other day, a couple weeks ago, about getting the travel papers, you know, for essential workers. I haven't even used them, and our local law enforcement said they're not going to stop anybody. So, yet. They did say currently in their comment, currently, they're not going to stop anybody. So, but I haven't had to use them. I don't know anybody who has. I'm not sure about other states. Have you had to use yours? You know, you have them, but have you used them? Hopefully not, you know, because it's just crazy to live in this times like this where you can't freely travel. You know, how easy it is that people just give up their liberties so easily. People have willingly given up their liberties. I'm telling you, in the name of public health, safety, people will march right into a concentration camp, FEMA camp. They'll load themselves onto a cattle car. Just, we got to do the right thing. You know, we got to be safe. Got to protect everybody else, protect ourselves. No. No. Even talked about for rumors and stories, you know, conspiracies. Don't know how much all of it's real. There's so much, you know, the internet there's just so much, you know. You just don't know what's true and what's not anymore, even from legitimate news sites. You know, talking about tracking people, putting ankle monitors on people who are sick and things like that stuff. You know, if I'm sick, I'm in bed, man. I'm not going anywhere. You know, even if my symptoms are minor, I'm not going anywhere. I'm sick, man. I'm not getting out. So who knows? Who knows what they'll do? And who knows what the government is getting away with while we're not paying attention, while our attention is diverted pretty much solely to one thing. What's going on behind the scenes? You know, 5G, other projects that we are unaware of right now, other bills being passed. You know, there's a lot of talk of gun bans and confiscation stuff, bills that they're trying to pass through while nobody else is paying attention. You know, keep an eye on the other things too, folks. Pay attention. Pay attention. Anyway, rattle on too much on this video. Typical. All right, keep it heavy.